Yes. Thank you, Kiran bhai. Good evening to one and all present here to our second day of direct tax series on very important session on recently introduced TCS provision on sale of goods. Uh, I am CA Vipul Patel, Chairman Amravati branch, along with the Chairman Akola branch CA Jalad Baheti ji, Chairman Ahmednagar branch CA Kiran Bhandari ji. Welcome our today's speaker CA Bhupendra Shah ji, super energetic, super loving person from Mumbai, who will be guiding on all these important provisions. So I welcome you, sir, on the behalf of all the three organizing bodies today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, and also all the members who are joined and in the process of joining. Uh, Sir, friends, lots of talks and discussion are going on this recently introduced provision. I mean, regarding the applicability of this provision to the large assets having turnover about 10 crores, and from which and when date this threshold limit of 50 lakhs will be calculated. And amongst all these, recently CBDT also coming up with the clarification that they have said only 3.5 lakh users currently reported a business turnover of more than 10.5 crores, and more than 80 lakh users have already registered as a tax collector and tax deductor. So there are very few persons left who will be under these compliances. So there are not the things to be worried. But we as an advisor, we as a chartered accountant have to guide our client about these provisions. That's why we have arranged this session particularly for our members. So to start with the session, now I request Chairman Akola branch, C. Jalaj Baheti ji, to introduce our esteemed distinguished speakers before all of you. Over to you, Jalaj bhai.
Sir, I am going to introduce, sir.
Yeah, sorry. Kiran sir, over to you, sir.
Vipul bhai.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, myself, CA Kiran Bhandari, Chairman of Ahmednagar branch. I have got the opportunity to introduce today's speaker. Looking to him, hearing to him will be really a fantastic journey. Having a session chat before the session start was really energetic. And after the end of the session also, all the participants will feel energetic after listening to him. Such a dynamic, energetic person we are having with us today as a speaker, CA Bhupendra Shah. Don't look to his age, his experience, but the energy which he is going to present before us all. He is a BCom FCA from Sindon College, rank holder CA and practicing since 1981. Merit in SSC board in 1973, completed ISA course in 2005. He is appointed as a special invitee to PDC committee by President of ICI in 2015. He has delivering lectures all over the WRC as well as other regions of the institute. And specifically, we are having a proud to feel that his lecture webcast has been appearing on ICI TV, which are opportunities for CA in ADR, amendments to arbitration and conciliation ordinance 2015, assessment of share capital and share premium. These are the webcasts which are available on ICI TV. Such a dynamic, versatile personality is having with us today to guide us on TCS, who is having an experience as reviewer of tax audit by Quality Review Board of ICI, delivered many lectures on DT, RT for income tax department and department officers. He was the owner of Yahoo group called Global Indian CAs of 12,000 CA. He is doing practice since 1981. He is also a lecturer for Pune certificate course for arbitration of ICI. He is delivering lectures in direct taxes, drafting, consultation, appellate works, search and seizure matter, family arrangement, and etc. He is peer reviewer of peer review board of the ICI. He is already on the panel of financial review report of ICI. He is also representing before the disciplinary committee as a counsel for the in the ICI. He has writing articles in various tax publications as well as the journals of the institute. He has authored a book of CPE material on arbitration for ICI in 2005-2006. He is arbitrator on Bombay Stock Exchange for 6 years, arbitrator on NSE from 2016 onwards. Historical award of 109 type pages have been upheld right up to Supreme Court, is now a reported case law. He is life member of the Indian Council of Arbitration and undergone several courses on arbitration at IMC and other organizations. With this brief introduction, I present before you CA Bhupendra Shah from Mumbai. Yes, sir. Please take over the charge, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Kiran sir. It's such a privilege for all of us that, sir, I think all of three, by the time we have started practice in 1981, we were not born even. So it's such a privilege, sir. Sir, over to you, sir.
Have you started?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Have you started sharing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Screen is shared?
No. Just I will share, sir.
Yeah, so that it will be, yes. No. Take it up. Okay. Yes. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Voice is okay, na?
Yes, sir. Just make the full screen, sir.
Okay, full screen, na?
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, what will happen is that some matter may be cut down, if I make it full screen.
Sir. Please continue, sir, then.
Chalo, we will see. Chalo. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. See, we are living in an era of technology. We have become CA where there was not even CPE. There was not even tax audit. Can you imagine life without these two things? And today, sitting in my drawing room, I am conducting webinar for so many CAs all over India. And that is the real achievement of technology. Now, today, CP means learning. Learning means Goddess Saraswati. So with her blessings,
Hello.
Sir, we are unable to hear you, sir.
Sir, are you there? Kiran sir.
Yes. Sir.
सर के वहाँ इंटरनेट कनेक्शन का इशू है, आई गेस. किरण सर एक बार कॉल कीजिए ना सर को.
Yeah, Bhupendra sir has just left. Again he will join.
Okay, no problem.
सर के वहाँ इंटरनेट का कनेक्शन है किरण सर, तो उनका वीडियो ऑफ करने को बोलिए उनको.
Okay. Just after sir joins.
Sir, जब तक joint हो रहे हैं, मैं I like to just add one thing here, Kiran sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Are you listening, sir?
Yes, you can carry on, sir.
Yes. Sir, there is a one member from Chandrapur, Damodar Sardaji. If you look at the screen, sir, he will be there. वो हमारे सभी प्रोग्राम अटेंड करते हैं, sir.
Okay. Very good, sir. Very good.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Damodar sir. How are you, sir?
Fine.
Yeah.
Bhupendra Shah knows me very well.
Yes.
Sir. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for joining, sir.
Just I will have a call with Bhupendra
Yeah,
sir.
please, sir, please.
सर टेक्नोलॉजी की बात करते करते खुद ही टेक्नोलॉजी ने बाहर फेंक दिया सर को।
आपके अभी भी नेटवर्क का इशू लग रहा है जलज भाई मुझे।
आज कुछ डिस्टर्बेंस है जूम में मेरे ख्याल से।
आई थिंक टुडे कनेक्टिविटी का बहुत प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है। आप मोबाइल से
हाँ,
कनेक्ट
प्रॉब्लम दिख रहा है आज कनेक्टिविटी का प्रॉब्लम है या जूम में प्रॉब्लम है, कुछ तो है, आज इशू है आज।
हाँ, नहीं
सर
आप
का इंटरनेट में प्रॉब्लम था, सर का जूम लॉक हो गया।
फिर आप
उन्होंने रिस्टार्ट किया है लैपटॉप, वो बोले रुको 2 मिनट में मैं रिस्टार्ट करके चालू करता हूँ।
ओके।
ये
किरण भाई कल का जो सेशन था होगा ना आज, जरा यूट्यूब पे अपलोड कर देना है उसको।
हाँ, वो कर
कल
देता
के सेशन की रिकॉर्डिंग्स वो आज दीजिएगा ना।
हाँ, वो भी दे देता हूँ। यस 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 100% देता हूँ आज।
and attendance sheet also, so that CPRs can be uploaded immediately.
Yes. Yeah.
Sir आ गए।
join ना।
Sir your voice is, sir आप म्यूट पे हो। भूपेंद्र sir you are on mute.
Sir, yeah.
Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I have unmuted him. Yes sir, yes sir.
And can you hear my voice also?
Yes
sir, clearly.
Absolutely okay sir.
Okay, fine. Can we start? Okay.
Yes sir. Yes sir.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes sir. Now very clear sir.
I request other participant to please switch off your videos so that we can conduct the session very smoothly. All the members who have put on their videos, yeah, I think all the participants are now switched off their videos. Chetan sir, आप अपना वीडियो ऑफ करेंगे please?
No issue sir. Oh yes, yes sir.
Okay.
Perfect now sir.
Yeah. Guys, okay na? Okay.
Yeah, perfect sir. Perfect.
Okay, fine. Yes. So we were just on the blessings of Goddess Saraswati for learning. Yes. Now, having done so, Vakratunta Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvighna Kurumedeva Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada. Topic for the day is TCS provision under section 2061G 1H and TDS provisions under section 194O. This is me before you presenting the webinar today. 3 sections are covered in today's webinar. First section is 206C1H. This says that seller has to collect tax collected at source, just like sales tax, VAT, GST, etc., from the amount received towards consideration for sale of goods exceeding rupees 50 lakh in any private previous year. Second section we will be discussing is 206C1GA, which speaks about any authorized dealer receiving amount in aggregate of 7 lakhs rupees in a year under LRS scheme. LRS scheme means liberalized remittance scheme. If there is a PAN number, 5%. If there is no PAN number, 10%. Now, another is 206C1GB. If you buy overseas tour program package, OTPP, then seller will collect 5% TCS from you if there is a PAN number and without PAN number, it will be 10%. Now, third section we'll be discussing is 194O. That is e-commerce operator, say like Amazon, etc. They have to deduct TDS for any sale of goods from e-commerce participant. That means whoever is supplying goods through e-commerce operator, that e-commerce operator is liable to deduct TDS under section 194O. Now let us see each and every section at length. First section is 206C1H. This speaks about TCS on sale of goods. So remember, only goods, services are not covered at all. So only sale of goods are covered. To make the things very simple, let us look at the chart. Chart of 206C1H. TCS on sale of goods. Who has to collect TCS? Seller. Who has to pay this? Buyer. Now, let us define which seller and which buyer is liable. Seller whose turnover is more than 10 crore rupees in last year. For example, now we are in the financial year 2021. So those whose turnover is more than 10 crore in financial year 1920, they are liable to TCS in 2021. So this is just like your tax audit report. Tax audit is liable only when turnover exceeds prescribed limit in last year. Similarly, here also 10 crore limit, if it exceeds in last previous year, that means every year there will be liability, whether you are liable or not. So your liability to TCS may be there in current year, depending upon last year's turnover. Okay. Now, as far as buyer is concerned, then in that case, 50 lakh turnover in any previous year is necessary. Now, TCS to be collected from buyer only which turnover is 50 lakh rupees. Now, the biggest problem is when we have to collect TCS. Answer is very simple, and listen to this answer very carefully, because so many queries will be based only on this third portion of the table. Liability to TCS is only not when sale is taking place, not at all. 50 lakh limit is not for the sale at all. When you receive the sale consideration, for example, I have sold goods to you in last year, in 2018 also, 2017 also. Still, if you pay me, that is, if you pay to the seller after 1st October 2020, exceeding 50 lakhs, then TCS to be collected. It has no connection with sale at all. It is receipt of the sale consideration after 1st October. Okay, so this point is very clear. And rate of TCS is 0.1% if there is a PAN, and 1% if there is no PAN, etc., etc. Now, here we will come to that relief package little later on. So we will summarize every seller having turnover exceeding 10 crore in earlier year, and every buyer who is paying exceeding 50 lakhs in a previous year, and it is only on receipt of sale consideration and not the sale at all. And PAN and other 0.1%, otherwise 1%. Now let us see whether all sales are covered or not. 206C1H. There are certain exemptions. First exemption is it applies only to goods. So that means when you sell the services, say contract, service, etc., then service is either in India or outside India. 206C1H is not applicable. That is why I am repeating, only sale of goods are covered under section 206C1H. Okay. Now, sale which are exports out of India are exempted. That means all exporters are exempted from TCA. Now, one question will arise in your mind, whether special economic zone is covered or not. This is a gray area. There are judgment under other sections 10A, 10B, etc. that sale to SEZ is also export, deemed export. But here the wordings are not deemed exports. So it is only sale of goods out of India which is exempted. Third exemption is that those who are covered by other TCAs, say timber, then foreign produce, then liquor, scrap, etc. These are covered under other TCAs. So if you are covered under other TCAs, you will not be covered here. Now, fourth exemption is that if you are liable to TDS, for example, you are doing some contract work for other, then opposite fellow will be deducting TDS. So that will be not covered under 206C1H. Now, another thing is, if buyer is a central government, state government, or high commission, embassy, consulate, trade representation, foreign state, or local authority, then you are not to deduct, you are not to collect TCS at all. So remember this exemption very well. All services are exempt, export is exempt, sale of goods covered under other TCS is exempt under this TCS. If the buyer is covered by TDS, then also this TCS does not apply. And if the buyer is government body or semi-government body, then also is exempt. But let me remind you, PSUs are not covered here. Public sector undertaking, if they are buyer, then they are still covered. Okay. Now let us see next slide. How to calculate the limits? I told you that 10 crore limit is there. If your limit, if your turnover is 10 crore, but there is one catch. That turnover includes sales of goods and services both. Okay, for calculating 10 crore. Although TCS is not applicable on services. Suppose my last year turnover of goods was 9 crore and services were 1 crore. So 10 crore. So both are to be considered for 10 crore. Now, in every year we have to calculate. For example, in this year my turnover is less than 10 crore. Then next year my TCS liability is 0. Even though my turnover may be 20 crore. Okay. Now let us see how to calculate turnover of 50 lakh. But for the purpose of 50 lakh, only sale of goods is to be considered. So basic difference between turnover 50 lakh and 10 crore is 10 crore includes goods and services. 50 lakh is only goods. Now 10 crore is of previous year and 50 lakh is receipt of self consideration after 1st October. So every year the liability will change. Now let us take some practical example. Okay. Now see the first case. A is a seller, B is a buyer. In financial year 1920, turnover was 13 crore. So obviously he is liable in this year because of 13 crore turnover. Even though his turnover is 8 crore in this year, he is liable because it was more than 10 crore in last year. Now this year, up to September 20, he received 25 lakhs. from the debtors. Debtor Mr. B, buyer, and 65 lakh is received after September. So total receipt is 90 lakh. But out of this 90 lakh, 50 lakh is a basic exemption. Are you getting my point? So 90 minus 50 lakh, so 40 lakh remains. On that 40 lakh, 0.1% will, that means 4,000. So it is very clear. Last year turnover was more. Even though this year turnover is less, any amount received from buyer exceeding 50 lakh is liable to TCS. Now take second example. In this case, turnover is 10 crore in last year. So is there any liability? No, because even though turnover is 13 crore this year, your liability is nil because turnover should be more than 10 crore. Here it is exact 10 crore. So it is not applicable. So even though you have received 65 lakh after 1st October, there is no liability to TCS at all because last year the turnover was just 10 crore and not more than 10 crore. Now let us take third example. Last year turnover is 30 crore. Buyer has paid me 60 lakh and 55 lakh in this year. Now see the situation. Total receipt is 1.05. Basic exemption is 50 lakh. So how much is left? 55 lakh. So that 55 lakh is received after October. So TCS will be collected only on receipt after September. So on these 5,500, that is 0.1% will be calculated. So let me recap this slide. In the first case, even though turnover of the current year is less than 10 crore, we have to collect TCS because my turnover was more than 10 crore in last year. In second case, my turnover was just 10 crore, so no liability. It should exceed 10 crore. In third case, it has exceeded 10 crore in last year and my receipt is more than 55 lakh this year. So 60 plus 55, 1.05 minus 50 lakh. So on 55 lakh, I will collect 5,500. Now take fourth example. In this case, buyer is a state government. So you are totally out. If buyer is a state government, no liability to collect TCS at all. Fifth case is a job worker. Say he's doing some fabrication work. You are doing a fabrication work. So buyer will naturally deduct TDS under section 194C. So even though turnover is more than 10 crore, since TDS is already deducted, no TCS. Now you will be wondering why this fifth case. What is the idea of TCS? Idea of TCS is not to have double taxation, but to identify the buyers who were not filing returns of income tax. Now, once there is either TDS or TCS, then what will happen is that they will be claiming refund or tax returns and they will be caught. Now, let us take sixth example. Seller is an auto dealer. Say he is a Maruti car dealer. He is selling car to B. His turnover is more than 10 crore. But here under this section, there will be no TCS because on car dealing, there is already a TCS under section 206C1F. So I told you, these are the exceptions, 3 exceptions. If buyer is a government body, if buyer is deducting TDS or buyer is covered by other TCS provision, there is no question of TCS under this new provision. Now let us take some more FAQs on this. So your fundamental will become more and more clear. Now let us see. What is the time period for collection of tax? As I told you repeatedly, that there is no collection of sale at all. Your sale may be 0 this year. But if you are receiving sale proceed of earlier year, maybe 2 years old, 3 years old, 5 years old, after 1st October exceeding 50 lakh, then you are liable to deduct collect TCS. So this has been clarified by CBDT on 29th September that all sale consideration received after 1st October are liable, and anything received before 1st October are not liable. Now let us take one example on this item. Now pay very close attention. In first case, these are financial year. These are not your assessment year at all. Say in financial year 1920, sale to Mr. A was 60 lakh and receipt was 20 lakh. So balance was 40 lakh. What is the TCS to be collected? Zero. Because in 1920, there was no TCS provision at all under section 206C1. So note number 1 is very clear that there is no provision of TCS in first case. Now take second case. In this current financial year, sale is of 70 lakh. Opening balance was 40 lakh. That fellow out of 1 crore 10 lakh is paying me 1 crore. And out of this, he is paying me 55 lakh before 30th September 2020. And outstanding balance is 10 lakh only. Then what is the balance to be collected? Because that limit of 50 lakh is already exhausted. So what is the receipt remaining now? 45 lakh received after October. So see my note number 2. On 45 lakh, I will be collecting 0.075%. Now this 0.1% is reduced to 0.075% because of COVID-19 package reduction. 1 crore he has paid me. Out of this, 55 lakh was received before and 45 lakh is received after this 1st October. So I have to collect only on the receipt after 1st October. Okay. Now take third case. Next year, suppose sale is 55 lakh. Opening balance is 10 lakh. Total receipt is 45 lakh. Outstanding balance is 20 lakh. How much we have to collect? Zero. Because 45 lakh is the only collection. Sale may be more than 50 lakh. No issue. I am repeating 100 times. Sale is not a criteria at all. What is criteria? Receipt against sale. That is 45 lakh. It is less than 50 lakh. So my liability to TCS is zero. Take fourth example, next year, 22-23. Their sale is 55 lakh. Opening balance is 20 lakh. Receipt is 65 lakh. So what is my threshold limit? 65 lakh minus 50 lakh basic exemption. So what is remaining? 15 lakh. On 15 lakh, 15. 65 minus 50. So 15 lakh. On that 0.1%. Let me tell you, this reduced rate of 0.075% is only from 1st October to 31st March in this year because of COVID. Otherwise, from subsequent year, it will be only 1%. Okay. So 1,500. So let us recap this slide. 1920, no liability because TCS is not there. 2021, once the 50 lakh is crossed, you have to collect 0.075% on the receipt after 1st October, that is 45 lakh. Third year, since receipt is less than 50 lakh, no TCS. In fourth year, on the 65 lakh minus 50 lakh, so 15 lakh. On 15 lakh, I will collect 0.1%, that is 1,500. Chalo, now Googly. अभी IPL चल रहा है ना, तो Googly खेलने का तो अच्छी तरह खेलने का. Now let us understand some complicated question. There is one non-resident. He is selling goods from outside India. So he is sitting in Dubai and he is selling goods outside India. Whether he is required to collect TCS under this section. If you see definition of a buyer, in explanation 2061H excludes any person importing goods into India. Hence, the obligation to collect tax is not triggered in the hands of non-resident seller. Meaning by he is selling goods here, he is not liable to collect TCS. Obviously, reason is simple because he is not liable to tax in India. Is that clear? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now let us go ahead. Now question will arise in your mind. I am talking about goods. 206 C1H speaks about goods, sale of goods. Then what is sale of goods? Income tax, there is no definition of sale of goods at all. So what we have to do? We have to see our Sale of Goods Act 1930. वो मेरे को CPT में सिखाया था, बाद में भूल गया, बरोबर ना? But you have to read again Sale of Goods Act. What does it say? It means only movable property. So that means immovable property is excluded. It includes shares, crop, grass, things attached to land, and etc. and other than actionable claim. Same definition is in our CGST. GST has come in 2017, July 1. Under CGST Act also same definition is there. Now let us see what is the implication of this definition of goods. Okay. As I told you, immovable property is out. Only movable property is covered. And commodity is also covered. Certain things are mentioned in red and certain in black. Why? Answer is very clear. As per the definition of Sale of Goods Act and as per the definition of CGST, goods include all these items from A to M. But CBDT has clarified or in the circular dated 29 September 2020 that these C, G, H, L and M are excluded from this section. So only thing which are covered are, so shares and securities are out. Motor vehicle is out because there is another section. Liquor is out because for that there is another TCS section. Scrap is out because there is another section. Forest produce is out because there is another section. So let us think positively. What is covered? All movable property, commodity, even grain is covered. I have heard that Ahmednagar there are lots of grain dealer, right? So all commodities will be covered. Electricity is also covered. Wonderful. Agricultural produce is covered. Fuel is covered. Jewelry is covered. Bullion covered. Art covered. Drawing covered. Sculpture, matlab murtiya covered. Now let us go further. Next rider is, as I told you, shares and securities are exempt. So CBDT has clarified that any shares and securities or commodity exchange, whichever is taking place on the exchange, recognized stock exchange, are outside this provision of TCS. It is very difficult to implement shares and commodities on stock exchange and commodity exchange. That's why they are excluded. But see the last remark. Only if they are online transaction. आपने bold पे किया है तो ही. If you sell, suppose if you sell shares to me privately, that is allowed. Off market transaction. You sell shares to your brother, that is allowed. But there is no exception. Let me tell you. And if it exceeds 50 lakh and 10 crore criteria, then you may be covered under TCS. Now let us, as I told you, immovable property. As I told you, definition of goods excludes immovable property. So builder लोग सब out हो गया. Land, building, both are out. Okay. So this is exempted by CBDT from TCS. चलिए, now motor vehicle. You are aware that car above 10 lakhs rupees in value is covered by another TCS section 206C1F. So I told you that whenever there is another specific TCS, car is having another TCS. So this is not covered under this. So although car is a movable property, it is not covered under this. Don't be confused with the fixed asset. Movable and immovable are different. Car is movable property covered under 206C1F. So there is 1% TCS. So you are not covered under this. Chaliye next, electricity. Now electricity is also a good. National Thermal Power Corporation. Supreme Court judgment says that electricity is also a good. It's a goods. So tax can be collected on electricity. But now CBDT representation were made. And what is the representation? That if only electricity is purchased directly from the electricity generation company and not from the distributor company. So Gen electricity generation company will be liable to collect TCS and not otherwise. Okay, next. Now let us see. In all the webinars, questions are asked to me. हमने तो सेल रिटर्न कर दिया, तो वो लेस करने का कि नहीं? No, my dear friend, I repeatedly told you, TCS is not linked to sale at all. TCS is linked to receipt of the sale consideration. Once you receive amount X exceeding 50 lakhs, you are liable to TCS. Discount is not connected. Indirect tax is not connected. That means even if you receive GST from buyer, it is liable to TCS. Because I know there are so many questions on this. Discount is not the concern. GST is not the concern. Custom duty is not the concern. Sales return is not the concern. Debit or credit note not the concern. So my dear friend, there is no adjustment for sale return. You are not under GST. You are under TCS. So these are irrelevant factors. Another query which is raised by so many CS are that fuel. Suppose Singapore Airlines aeroplane comes to Bombay airport and Bombay fuel company sells fuel to Singapore Airlines. So that is not covered because foreign airlines, fuel to foreign airlines is not liable to TCS at all. That is the CBDT clarification. Now software. Now under the software, there are two problems. Number one, when TDS provisions were introduced, people were telling, no, it is not a goods. It is not a VAT liable. When it comes to TDS, people say, no, there is no service. So it is not liable to TDS also. Ultimately, the matter went to Supreme Court, Tata Consultancy Services, in which distinction was made on two types of software. For example, you buy a ready-made software that is off the shelf, that was not liable to tax at all. And if you make a tailor-made software, then there was a TDS. So now the question will be finally answered. See the last two lines. If the software is treated as a sale of goods by the seller, then TCS will be applicable because software is a good. Otherwise, it will be liable to TDS under section 194J or 195. Next, jewelry. Demonetization time पे बहुत धूम मची थी ज्वेलरी की. तो 16-17 में TDS was introduced. TCS was introduced at the rate of 1%. But lot of hue and cry took place. So it was withdrawn in Finance Act 2017. Now again in Finance Act 2020, under section 2061H, jewelry is also a goods. So TCS is also applicable at the rate of same rate. Now, yesterday I was addressing one more seminar. In that seminar, somebody asked me the question on webinar that why the rate is same for all the TCS. Then I replied that 0.1% itself is a very low rate. Government intention is twofold. Number one, it is to bring all the buyers to the books of income tax. Secondly, it is like monthly advance tax on behalf of the buyer to be collected and paid by the seller. So jewelers are representing that their margin is very less, and that's why there should be less TCS on the jewelry item. But government will say gold, which was available at 35,000 rupees, is now fetching 50,000 rupees. Where is the question of less margin? So I don't think government will reduce the rate just for the purpose only of jewelry. So jewelry is included. Okay. Now, so many people are asking me, A is selling goods to B is selling to C is selling to D. Whether all the resellers are also covered? Yes, my dear friend, there is no distinction at all. In fact, they want to cover all small resellers who are buying above 50 lakh from the big dealer whose turnover is 10 crore or more, but they were not even filing the return of income tax. So in that case, they will be covered under TCS. Now let us take another example. So Mr. A is a salaried person. He buys jewelry of 60 lakh, and because of price increase, he sells it for 70 lakh. Is he liable to TCS? No, because he is not a trader. His turnover is not more than 10 crore last time. He is a consumer. Even though his sale is more than 70 lakh, he cannot be expected to collect TCS. Okay, so the answer is all the resellers are covered, but not the consumer whose turnover is less than 10 crore last year. Now, some people have asked me a question that I have collected out-of-pocket expenses in the sale invoice, whether I am liable to collect TCS. My dear friend, again I am repeating 100 times. Sale is not the criteria. Criteria is received. Even if you receive GST, out-of-pocket, anything, debit note, credit note, no criteria. Whatever you receive by way of invoice in the sale invoice, then it is liable to TCS. Only exception is, now there are two types of practices going on from 1st October 2020. What people will say, for example, he has sold TV to you, you are a TV dealer, TV to 10 TVs, 15 TVs, etc., exceeding 50 lakh. Then GST, then transportation, then labor charges, Hamali, then at the end GST, and then TCS. This is a new format of invoice. But if you collect TCS by debit note, then there is no question of paying TCS on TCS. There is no question of TCS on TCS. Whether out-of-pocket expenses are sale consideration, yes. Whatever you receive from the debtor is your liability to TCS. Now let us recap the rates of TCS. As I told you, this year because of COVID, suppose you received on 13th February 2021 some amount, then PAN and Aadhaar is there. What is the reduced rate of payment? TCS, instead of 0.1%, it is 0.075%. Now 18th March, you are receiving some amount exceeding 50 lakhs, but there is no PAN and Aadhaar card. Then it is 1%. There is no concession in that. And after 1st April 2021, 0.1% is across the board, because reduced rate of COVID-19 relief package is only between 1st October 2020 to 31st March 21. Now, some CS asked me a question yesterday. So I have modified the slide today. This is not to be increased further by surcharge and health if the buyer is resident. However, TCS amount shall be increased by surcharge and cess if the buyer is non-resident or foreign company. So let us recap. 0.075% with PAN number only up to 31st March, without PAN number 1%, after 1st April 21 1%. For non-resident, there is no surcharge or cess, and sorry, resident. For non-resident, there is a surcharge and cess both. Okay. Now let us go further. Everybody is asking me why TC has to be collected on GST. CBDT is correct, again clarified by circular number 17. My dear friend, TCS is not linked to sale invoice at all. It is linked to receipt of sale price, which includes GST. So GST is required to be included for the purpose of TCS. Now, a question may arise in your mind that suppose you have received advance against order. Suppose you receive say 60 lakh against sale of some item. Whether you have to collect TCS on that? Yes. CBDT has clarified that anything received against sale after 1st October is liable to TCS. Now, so long as it is for sale and it is adjusted against sale, it is liable to TCS. Now, let us take another example. Somebody has taken loan. Loan is not covered by TCS. But if, say, on the subsequent date, loan is adjusted against sale, at that point of time, there will be a liability to TCS. Okay. Now, question may arise in your mind that I have received TCS before 1st October. Then, obviously, as I have told you, anything received before 1/10/2020 is not liable to TCS at all. And it would apply on all the sale consideration after 1/10/20, even if sale is before 1/10/20. In short, sale कभी भी होने दो, कोई मतलब नहीं है. Receipt कभी हुआ, बस. So you will ask me a question. Are we following cash system of accounting for this? Practically speaking, yes. It is on receipt basis. Now see the fun. Companies Act requires accrual system, that is mercantile. Income tax has both the option cash and mercantile, but all the traders are following mercantile system. ICDS requires mercantile system. Ind AS requires mercantile system, but TCS requires receipt basis. एक ही बुक्स पे इतना तरह तरह का आपको कॉम्प्लिकेशन. इमेजिन मिसमैच होने ही जाने वाला है. 26 AS में मिसमैच होने ही वाला है, 100% होने वाला है. Okay. Now let us see next question. As I told you about loan we have already covered. Okay. Loan, if it is adjusted against sale of goods, then at that moment there is a TCS liability. Now let us go to next question. Suppose you are a seller of goods having 10 crore and all that. You are transferring some goods to your branch, one branch to another branch. So this is not your GST, my dear friend. There is no question of sale and purchase. If the PAN number of the seller and the buyer is same, it is not liable to TCS at all. Meaning by TCS is per PAN number. Transfer of goods in the same PAN number. Suppose you are at Amravati. Seller is at Amravati and his branch is at Akola. transferring goods to Akola. There is no TCS. It is his own branch. Now, similarly, come to another question.
How? How?
Okay, suppose you are selling goods from
How?
different branches.
How?
Suppose you trader is at Akola. Hello, somebody speaking on phone. Hello, please mute your mic.
किरण भाई प्लीज सबको म्यूट कीजिए ना.
Sorry for disturbance.
Everybody please mute yourself.
No problem, people. Why no problem? It happens.
Sir, you continue, sir.
No problem. In fact, yesterday Supreme Court had to remark to an advocate, your baby is crying. Don't make him cry. So that was the thing, you know. Anyway, now suppose buyer is having various branches and he is buying from different branches. Then 50 lakh limit is not per branch. It is per pen number. One pen, one TCS, simple. Buyer may have 100 branches, but total 50 lakh limit will come per pen number. Once it crosses 50 lakh, it will be liable to TCS. Similarly, for seller also, if all is selling to another branch, there is no TCS. This is very clear. Now, as I told you, buyer having multiple branches, 50 lakh, okay. Now, a question will arise in your mind whether you can apply for lower TCS. Answer is no. Because under section 206 C1H, already 0.1% is so low. Where is the question of lower to lower to lower to lower? Though, hence, there is no option for lower deduction TDS certificate. Now, how to deposit? Form Chalan number 281, you have to file corporate, non-corporate, etc., just like that, electronic. Because all above 10 crore are under tax audit, so they can't go to bank and deposit, they have to do electronic. And 7th of next month, this is just like paying salary of the government. Every 7th of the next month we have to pay. Okay. Now, after having done that, what happens if you don't pay TCS in time? Then 1% interest is there per month. Now, somebody may ask the question, you remember 40A 1A section, no deduction of TDS. There is one option that if the payee has paid his taxes, his CA can certify in form number 27BA that he has paid the taxes. So there is no question of TCS under this section. This option is not available under section 206 C1H. So in the case of sale of goods, buyer having more than 50 lakhs turnover cannot say that my CA will certify I have paid the tax, so you don't collect TCS from me. No. But that TCS, that option of form 27BA is available for liquor, scrap, parking, toll plaza under other TCS. Because here the section is very small, 206 C1H. Okay. Now, what are the time limits? 15th of after the end of the quarter, say July 15, 15th October, 15th January, and 15th May, you have to file form 27EQ. Okay, TCS return. Now this is one more compliance. Compliance. I don't know who will pay fees to CS. Now late filing fees 234E will also apply. Same 200 per day and all that. Now there is no option. And further, non-filing penalty is also there. Return non-filing 271H, 10,000 to 1 lakh. Okay. Now this first portion is over. Vipul bhai, how much time we have got?
Sir, 1 hour, sir. 1 hour.
Okay. 1 hour is more than enough. More than enough. Because last 10 minutes will be given for question and answer. So we have completed major portion of 206 C1H. Now very interesting. Everybody is interested in foreign travel and foreign remittance. So this is second section. There are two parts in 206C 1G, LRS and foreign package. Now let us take 206 1GA, TCS on foreign remittance through liberalized remittance scheme. We will call LRS. What are the things? Authorized dealer collecting amounts of 7 lakhs rupees or more. See, 7 lakh is also covered or more in any financial year. He is liable to collect TCS under section 2061GA on any remittance made by the buyer of foreign exchange at the rate of 1%. Now let us see. If no other pain is there, then 10%. Now there are two exceptions available, exemptions. Here also, if buyer is liable to deduct TDS under other provisions, there will be no TCS. And if buyer is a central government, state government, embassy, etc., no TCS under LRS remittance scheme. Now, who is authorized dealer? That is normally bank, category 1, 2, 3. This is little heavy section. So I have prepared one chart. We will discuss this theory in a very lucid form. Okay, what is the lucid format? What is the nature of transaction? Sale of remittance of foreign exchange. Suppose I as an individual go to bank for remitting some amount. So that transaction is covered because LRS is applicable only to individual and HUF. Other entities are not covered. Okay. Now, who is liable to collect TCS? Authorized dealer. So bank. From whom to collect? There is buyer. In this case, I go to bank with 8 lakhs rupees. So I am buyer. So they have to collect TCS from me. What is the time of collection? Here it is debiting or receiving, whichever is earlier. Now you forget your earlier 206. See 1H. We are under 1GA. Suppose I have got good relation with bank. I don't pay. They just debit my account. So debiting or receive, whichever is earlier. What is the rate of tax? 0.5% received from buyer and 10% without PAN number. Now 5% is from the buyer, 10% without PAN. But if it is for education purpose under section 80E, then only 0.5%. So let us recap this. It covers only LRS scheme. Authorized dealer is a bank at the time of debit or receiving, whichever is earlier. Buyer of foreign currency is liable under LRS to pay TCS. 5% if PAN number, 10% without PAN number, and education means 0.5%. Now, what is the limit? 7 lakh or more. If it is just 7 lakh, then also covered. But only less than 7 lakh, no TCS. Now, exemptions I told you. If TDS is liable, then there is no TCS. If buyer is a government body, no TCS. Now, other points. 7 lakh is to be considered in a year. Suppose that example I will give you. Now, our finance minister announced relief package on 12th May, COVID-19 package. Now, this does not mention this 1G package at all. So 5 and 10% remains as it is. There is no reduction. Many people are under wrong impression that this has become 3.5 and 7.5. No, rate is 5 and 10%. Now let us take one concrete example. I am Mr. A. I go to bank. One day I give 5 lakh, then 8 lakh, then 1.5 lakh. Transaction 1. There is no liability because it is below 7 lakh. Then I give 8 lakh. So 5 plus 8 lakh, 13 lakh total amount cumulative minus 7 lakh basic exemption. So 6 lakh. On 6 lakh, they will charge me 6 lakh, 5% or 10% TCS as the case may be. Again, I give 1.5 lakh. Then straight away, if 7 lakh limit is existed in transaction 2, so whole of 1.5 will attract TCS. In nutshell, 7 lakh basic exemption is available. Once I cross 7 lakh, whole transaction is liable to TCS at 5% or 10% as the case may be, but accumulation has to be done. Now, other very important point. TCS on forest transaction is applicable only after 1st October, not before 1st October. So any transaction done before 1st October is exempt from TCS on foreign remittance under LRS scheme. Now, but for tracking 7 lakh limit, every transaction from 1st April has to be considered. For example, in earlier example, I had remitted 5 lakh before September. That limit will be counted. But on 5 lakh, there is no question of TCS. Because TCS is applicable only after 1st October. And TCS is not only against cash. It is against forex card also. Somebody is having foreign exchange card also. So even if I purchase foreign currency with forex card or hard cash or by check, then it is applicable. So to summarize this slide, every transaction before 1st October 2020 under LRS, no TCS. However, for 7 lakh limit, it is to be counted and considered. Even foreign exchange purchase in cash or through forex card, it is covered. Now, second portion of 206C1GB. TCS on selling of overseas tour package. Suppose I am a travel agent. I am selling overseas tour program package to you. Even for 1 rupee, there is no exemption. Finance Minister said, and our Prime Minister also said, that he is surprised that why people going abroad every year are increasing in number, but returns they are not filing. So he said, I will introduce TCS and then see how he is not liable to file return of income tax. Let me tell you, TCS is not extra tax. TCS is just like your advance tax. Buyer can adjust his tax liability. TCS is just like your TDS. And you can adjust your tax liability by TDS and TCS, advance tax and sales assessment all. Now on foreign package, there is a 5% TCS. Now, if there is no pen or Aadhaar, it is 10%. It is liable from rupee 1 also. There is no exemption limit at all. And again, 2 exception here also. If there is a TDS liability, for example, I am selling to my sub-broker, who is deducting my TDS. So he will deduct TDS. So there is no TCS question. And buyer is say central government, state government, etc. No TCS. Now see the definition of foreign tour package. Overseas tour program package includes any package for visit to country outside India and includes any expense of travel, like say hotel, stay, lodging, boarding, sightseeing, guide, and any other expenditure. अभी वो बच्चे लोग फेसबुक पे डालते थे ना, enjoying Paris, enjoying Rome, that all will come in this and they'll be caught because of TCS. Idea is to find out from where you took foreign exchange or foreign to expense money when your income is below taxable limit. So this is on foreign tour package. Now let us analyze this liability in detail. Nature of transaction. It is a receipt for buying overseas tour package. So local tours are exempted. तो अभी आपको घूमने का है तो अकोला, अमरावती, परभणी, बीड, नांदेड़ किधर भी घूम सकते हो, लेकिन आउट ऑफ इंडिया गए तो फिनिश, इट विल बी कवर्ड. Who is responsible? Seller of overseas tour package. Who has to pay? Buyer. What is the time of collection? At the time of debiting or buying, whichever is earlier. What is the rate of TCS? 5% with PAN number, 10% without PAN. Okay. Now, what is the threshold limit? 0. Even if you take 1 rupee foreign package, it is liable. Exception, TDS and central government, etc. Now, other points. These are very, very, very important. I will spend 2 minutes more on this last portion. Authorized dealer, that is bank, will not collect the sum from the seller of the overseas package. Let me tell you, these are two separate. Individual and HUF going to bank for foreign exchange, that is different. And overseas package sold by travel agent to consumer is different. But when travel agent himself goes to bank, then bank will not collect TCS if he gives the proof that he has collected TDS from his buyers. Are you getting my point? They are getting two interconnected sections. Bank will not collect TCS from the travel agent if he proves that he has collected TCS. Now again, TCS has to be collected even on GST also. And let me tell you, relief package does not apply to these 5 and 10% at all. Because 5 and 10%, because this is foreign tour. So this is luxury item. So there is no question of any relief to COVID-19. Relief is given only to those who have suffered. Here, foreign tourists are rich people and they are not covered by relief package. So 5 and 10% is applicable. Now, FAQ on foreign tour. Number 1, LRA scheme applies whether to entire amount or in excess of 7 lakhs. Answer is clear. Only in excess of 7 lakhs rupees. Okay. Second question. Whether all foreign remittances through LRS will be charged at 5%? Normally, yes. Except education remittance, which is at 0.5%. Remember, but there is no threshold limit in the case of overseas tour package. There it is from 1 rupee also. Third question. Now, TCS at the rate of 0.5% is applicable to the amount of rupees 7 lakh in the case of educational loan under LRS, if it is from a financial institution for education. Now let us take one example. Financial institution means bank. To be banking regulation applies, or to other financial institutions which are notified. See, for example, under LRS scheme, somebody is remitting 8 lakhs rupees for overseas education. Then TCS will be applicable only on 1 lakh, not on full 8 lakh, because 7 lakh basic exemption is there. and 0.5%. Here it is not 5%. The concessional rate of 0.5% will apply to education loan. Now let us go to another note. Here I have assumed that education abroad is incurred from own fund or loan has been taken from private parties. Then TCS at 5% will be applicable, because concessional rate of 0.5% is given only if it is from financial institution, not out of own funds or not out of private parties. Okay. And if educational program is afterward cancelled, then the bank will not refund the TCS collected by it. Okay. So this is very clear. Concessional rate is only for the purpose of banking institution which has given you education loan, and it is in excess of 7 lakhs, and it is not refundable at all, even if it is cancelled. Next question. Now, suppose tax I purchase overseas tour package under LRS. What is the condition? TCS under 5% will be applicable on total amount remitted, and TCS at the rate of 5% will be applicable on the entire 2 lakh rupees. There is no exemption. Will GST be applied on the TCS under LRS? Yes. GST exemption is not available at all. Next question. What are the scenarios under which TCS provisions of this will not apply? As I told you, government body, secondly, TDS applicability, and thirdly, if tour operator has already collected TCS, then there is no question of further TCS under LRS. Now, can customer avail TCS credit? Yes, it is just like an advance tax. He can definitely avail of that credit. Now, we have covered second section also. Now, we are going to third and the last section, 194.0. That is TDS on payment of certain sums by e-commerce operator and e-commerce participant. Who is e-commerce operator? So, for example, Amazon. Who is e-commerce participant? The sellers who are selling goods. Okay. Now, what is the section? This is newly introduced section. Payment of certain sums. When you suppose I buy certain item on Amazon, but Amazon is only a broker. He has to purchase from somebody. So that seller is called e-commerce operator. E-commerce collects from me. Amazon will collect payment from me and pay to the seller of the goods. And ultimately, I will pay to the Amazon. Amazon will pay to the seller of the goods. So those sellers were escaping income tax. So now TDS is introduced on e-commerce operator. Now, whether I make payment directly to Amazon or operator or to the seller directly, both are counted in this process. And TDS at the rate of 1% is to be deducted from the payment made to the e-commerce participant, that is seller. Now here, it is seller of goods as well as services both. Now, so many online classes are going on, services are going on, teaching is going on, everything is covered. This is not like our TCS on goods. This is TDS on e-commerce, goods and services both. So this is the basic difference. Now let us analyze. Who is liable to deduct TDS? Say Amazon in our case, because he is a mediator, broker between the purchaser and the seller. Whose TDS he will deduct of the seller of the goods. And when he will deduct credit or payment, whichever is earlier. Now, it includes both the payment, whether I make payment to Amazon or directly to the seller of the goods. All are included. Okay. Now let us take some examples on understand 194.0. Say X or ABC partnership firm is there, which is selling product to Amazon, and Amazon is selling me. Then what has happened is that it has credited the account of ABC on 31st December for sale of product X, say sum of 5,70,300, and made the payment on 3rd January. And Mr. Ram, who is a purchaser from Amazon, has made the payment 25,200 to ABC partnership firm on 15th December. Now let us understand two impact under section 194.0. First point is Amazon has to deduct TDS on 31st December because it has credited the amount. So what is the criteria? Credit or payment, whichever is early. So here it is credited. So 31st December is the date of deduction, TDS. Now on which amount? 5,73,300 and 25,200. On total amount of 5,95,500, they will have to deduct 0.75% TDS. Here, that one person is reduced to 0.75% because of COVID-19 relief package. As I told you, let us summarize. Payment or credit, whichever is earlier. Payment made directly to the broker, that is Amazon, or to the seller, all are to be counted, and rate is reduced to 0.75 up to 31st March. Okay. Now let us see applicability. Here, e-commerce operator, that includes resident as well as non-resident. So all these Flipkart, Amazon, they are now shivering because they have to comply with this TDS. Whereas e-commerce operator should be resident, it can be resident or non-resident, but seller of the goods, that is participant, only resident. That means somebody is selling from Dubai to India. That is not covered under 194.0. But somebody is selling, like say Amazon, sitting somewhere else in India, through a seller which is in India, resident, so that is covered. In short, supplier of the goods or services on electronic must be resident in India. However, broker can be resident or non-resident. For example, you book some food on this platform, Zomato, etc. It may be non-resident, but it is operator. Payment is going to Indian hotel, so it is covered. Now, it includes goods and services both. And services include technical fees, professional fees, everything. Now, there are two exceptions here. Number one, if the supplier of goods or services is individual or HUF, having PAN number or Aadhaar number given to operator, and his turnover is less than 5 lakh, then there is no TDS. Meaning by small seller of goods or services below 5 lakh, no question of TDS to individual or HUF if he gives PAN number. So now CBDT has clarified that these 5 lakh limit will apply only to individual and HUF and nobody else, and that too with PAN and Aadhaar. Suppose there is one more provision, that advertisement they are giving in India. So CBDT has clarified that exemption to TDS on advertisement expenses will not apply to any amount received by e-commerce operator, that is Amazon, for hosting advertisement or services which are not connected with the sale of the goods. That means only with the sale of goods, if the charges are received, then there is no question of TDS on advertisement. Otherwise, it is covered. Now, this section also provides for, here there is a provision because this is TDS. So you can apply in form number 13 for lower TDS or not TDS under section 195. And like other usual provisions, it will apply. Now let us summarize this rate of TDS. As I told you, it resident, it is with effect from 1st October 2020, that is 0.75%, and TDS are thereafter. And the rate is after considering set of 4% and shall be increased by surcharge. Okay. Next. Now miscellaneous provision. I am repeating. Even though operator, say Amazon, it may be non-resident, still they have to deduct TDS. Now let us look at some products. Say digital product they are selling. Electronic book, podcast, blog, video. That also is covered under 194.0. Now question may arise that this is applicable to only resident seller. So this means resident means what? As per definition under section 6 of Income Tax Act. Okay. Now this I clarified to you. Similarly here also it is clarified that anything after 1st October 2010 and nothing before that. Okay. Now this I have already covered, so I will not take much of your time. But there will be no double deduction. For example, somebody has deducted TCS, then there will be no TDS under section 194.0. Threshold limit, I told you about 5 lakhs, that is in a year. Same thing also applies here. Motor vehicle, I told you. Now, this I have already covered, so I will not repeat here. Now, since it is 6:30, I just hold here. Patel bhai, update. Hello, Vipul bhai.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, can you ask me one by one question from the chat box? I will try to reply to the best of my knowledge and belief.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Please, and if somebody wants to talk, you can unmute them because they should have, I think you can stop sharing the screen and they can see whole screen so they can have interaction with me. Nah?
Yes.
I think that will be very helpful.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir, there are only 2 queries right now in the chat box. I request all the participants who have some queries, they can put on the chat box.
So Vipul bhai, if there are no queries, there are 2 meanings.
Yes.
One meaning is everything is understood fully. So in that case, my webinar is fully successful.
Sir, one question is there.
Another meaning is that everything is gone bumper. So that is a gross failure of webinar. So let me see what is the correct meaning of this. That there are no queries. That means I have to tell
There are
finance
2
minister.
queries, I said.
So finance minister will be very happy that her provisions are so simple that Amravati, Akola and Ahmednagar branches CS are so expert that they can learn this in 1 hour and 30 minutes so fast. So next time she will introduce very complicated provisions. Okay, tell me. People,
Yes,
first question. Can I
Sir,
see that?
Yeah, Kiran sir, are you reading?
No.
yeah, I'm just
Remove
reading the
this.
question.
Okay.
No, 1 minute. Remove the sharing of the screen. Yeah? And let
Sir,
me
you will have to stop the sharing, sir.
So I will stop. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I have stopped sharing. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Now it's fine.
Yeah, tell me. Tell me. What the
Yeah.
first question?
Yes,
Yes,
Kiran
sir.
sir,
First
please go
question
ahead.
is,
Can you open the chat box?
which method is practical as per your suggestion? Collect TCS while issuing bills or collect TDS at the time of receipts of money and issue a debit note, even if at the end limit is not crossed, but we are taking safe view, and
According
government
to
may
me,
not have any adverse view regarding deduction.
according to me, while raising the invoice, there is no liability to TCS at all. So it is better to raise TCS in the invoice itself, so that at a later date, that fellow buyer cannot get up and ask, अरे पहले तो आपने बोला नहीं, हम TCS अभी नहीं देगा, ऐसा नहीं बोल सकता है. So it is better to include in the invoice. Although your liability was on receipt basis, so you are not liable to pay at that point of time. Invoice, it is not like a GST. GST liability is on a mercantile basis. Here TCS is different, totally different. So according to me, it should be all these multinationals and big companies have started issuing invoices with TCS at the end.
Yes, sir. There is a practice. Every seller, sugar factories and everyone in our region has also started issuing invoices with TCS only, sir.
Okay, okay. So
They are not checking whether it has increased 50 lakhs or not. They are just started giving invoices.
So that is called conservative view of auditor. Because sugar factories are the leaders. Sugar factories are the leaders.
Yeah.
They will charge immediately. Whatever is chargeable, they will charge.
Yeah. One question is there, sir. Can you explain TDS 194A provision on multi-layer transaction where multiple parties qualify as e-commerce operators?
194O, multiple parties.
Multiple parties qualify as e-commerce operators.
Okay. That means, as I told you, it is qua PAN number. If PAN number is same, then all are aggregated. Simple. Remember one thing, one PAN, finish. Calculation is over. आपको मालूम है डिमोनेटाइजेशन पे हर एक पेन वाले ने 2.5 लाख डिपॉजिट किया था और मजा किया था और बाद में 2000 का पर्पल नोट लेके आया था बैंक में जाके. So this is one pen and one enjoyment.
Okay. Sir,
I think that question is answered or not?
Yes, sir, answered.
Answered. And now I think you can unmute everybody if they want to ask some other questions.
Yes, sir. There is a facility they can unmute and ask directly also.
Yes, because now session is almost about to be over. Let them enjoy and ask their query so that they should feel full satisfaction of having participated. But only related to profession, not related to Sushant Singh Rajput.
Sir, whether TDS under section 194 will be applicable for recharge through website or online transaction?
TCS or TDS? What you are talking about? TDS.
TCS. It should be TCS. Wrongly written TDS. I guess.
See, let us be clear. Your query should be clear. Are you talking about 194O or 206C1H? You tell me first. Because H does not refer to services, but recharging also comes under goods. So why not? It's a part of mobile. Why not?
Sir, he has not given any details.
All these complications, so one by one, all industries will approach CBDT and they will give clarification. They will.
Sir, TCS on foreign remittance is only on LRS scheme and not general remittance towards services.
Yes, this is very good question. In fact, this gentleman is, I think, he is related to banking. He is Mr. Pujari and Martari. He is related to banking. Correct? So, correct. He is very much right. LRS scheme is only related to LRS, not to the general remittance. But my dear friend, this is applicable only to individual and HUF. And foreign exchange is not a thing which you can deal in directly with each other. That's a violation of law. You can give gift of $500 to your niece or nephew, but you can't deal in foreign currency on your own. You can be arrested. FEMA is there, Baba. There is something like FEMA.
Okay. If
And
anyone wants
no,
to ask the
what
question,
no, no.
unmute
No,
yourself
I
and
will,
ask the
Mr.
question.
Pujari's question I will modify. The
Okay.
question should have been like this, that why 7 lakhs rupees limit is there, which nobody asked me. I only will ask the question, I will answer. Because considering average rate of 70 rupees, it comes to $10,000. In all over the world, $10,000 मतलब कुछ नहीं, कचरा है, मतलब useless. 7 lakh rupees in India may mean something, but in abroad, $10,000 मतलब कुछ नहीं, pittance, nothing. They hardly 2 months salary for them, so they don't consider that as a violation of law. So Mr. Pujari's question is very good. LRS scheme is only for, it can be for investment, it can be for expenditure, it can be for travel, anything. But how an individual will remit? It can be for education also. You can give gift to your relative. Actually, मैं बताता हूँ क्या हुआ इसमें. Many people, because the limit was liberal, LRS was $250,000. $250,000 American dollar. People have remitted crores and crores of rupees abroad and just run away from India. So this is the motive. I didn't want to say, but this is, Mr. Pujari knows what I am saying. Now that Alia Malia, you cannot become like this. You can be caught immediately. Any other question?
There is one my question.
Yes, Satish ji, boliye ji, हाँ.
Thank you very much for a very good session, and to the speakers also.
In fact, I will tell you, Satish ji, today's session is technically more perfect because of no disturbance. Yesterday, Calcutta webinar got disturbed twice during the meeting. At least in our case, it got disturbed before the meeting started. So that was the starting point.
But disturbance was there.
No, but after I started, it got scared.
Yes.
Because the webinar came to know that they cannot disturb me now. Because it is Amar Akbar Anthony, na? Akola, Amravati and Ahmednagar. All triple A. Triple A. Yes, Satish ji, boliye.
Sir, on the one hand, we will raise the TCS through the bill. And on the other hand, we have to deposit it on the basis of receipt. We have to track both the things.
Yes.
Debits and credits also. But in case we are receiving the payment from the last year's payment,
yes,
for which we have not raised the bill, and
yes,
suppose we have stopped the transaction with the parties, there is no further billing, nothing. In that case, we have to pay this TCS from our own.
This question has come to me in each and every webinar. My reply is same. Once you have trusted the parties for 50 lakh, TCS is a small amount. If it doesn't give you TCS, your pocket is out. You have to pay.
Right.
कोई तो ये भी बोला मेरे को bad debt हो जाए तो क्या होएगा? No, the bad debt, but where is the question of receipt? That's why it is receipt based. Now one more question, which one CA asked me yesterday, that there will be a mismatch between the sales of the buyer in this year against the TCS. Correct? No, because that is no link with the sales during the year. So computer will never match 206C18 with purchases made by the buyer from me during the year. That link will be broken because that is receipt based. इनको कुछ नहीं, दो चाहिए, monthly advance check चाहिए, और दूसरा कुछ नहीं चाहिए उनको, बायर का पता लापतागंज 3 है वो, उसको पकड़ने का है.
Sir, I have not seen the form which we have to fill for filing the returns, whether it is based on your sale or on receipt basis.
Receipt basis. CBDT is amply clarified, amply. Right. It is receipt of sales consideration.
We have to report the sale also.
No, correct. No. Because the thing is, they can collect on all sales also. Na? Idea is that. And they are claiming fairness. That on the receipt we are taxing, not on the sales.
Right.
So double purpose is solved.
Thank you very much, Bhupendra.
Yes. Any other question, Vipul bhai? Yes. No. So I'll wind up my session.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, all the participants. 1 minute before that. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes. Please.
Thank you very much for your passionate
Yes,
hearing.
Jalaj bhai, you are requested to take over the charge for vote of thanks, sir.
Thank you, Bhupendra sir, on behalf
No,
of.
no, 1 minute, 1 minute. I just conclude 1 minute. Then you.
Yes, yes, definitely, sir.
Thank you very much for your passionate hearing and listening to my such hi-fi talks with so many sections, these, that, etc. I try to simplify to the best of my knowledge and belief. But life itself is taxing. Collect your good karmas and throw away bad karmas. That will be real TCS at source. Don't think about others. Think about yourself. What good karmas you are doing. Don't think about others, what they have talked about, etc. So my humble request is that whatever karma you accumulate follows you. Don't look at somebody else's karma. Thank you very much for your passionating. See you someday, sometime, on some other topic. Now you can tell me. Thank you very much.
Yes, Jalaj bhai.
Thank you, Bhupendra sir. As you said, ki Amar, Akbar, and Dhwani. On behalf of Amar means I guess Akola, Akbar means Amravati, and Anthony means our Kiran bhai. Thanks for giving your precious time for the webinar. And you have explained the topic in such a way with all examples, FAQs on all the goods as well as liberalization scheme, foreign remittance, and e-commerce activity. There no much queries were left out. So we can definitely say that the speaker have explained us very nicely and lucidly with all FAQs and examples, so that the queries were very minimal. And the important part which you said, ki one more compliance have come. On the one hand, we always are talking on ease of doing business, and every year when budget comes, the compliance increases. And this is again one more compliance on the part of the SSC which needs to be done. And on our ourselves also, ki as a chartered accountant, we are nowadays becoming a compliance accountant slowly and slowly.
Yes, yes. That I am be telling everybody everywhere.
Yes, sir.
Three difficulties of CAs: compliance, competition, and corruption.
You're right.
These three are the biggest enemies of profession.
Now, I guess the compliance, ease of doing business will be dream in India itself now. It will never be ease of doing business, as every year we are getting new laws and new regulations, and compliance is increased.
And imagine, Mr. Bhandari, what has happened is that Bhayati, that they have introduced in a COVID period.
Yes, yes.
They should have postponed to 1st April 2021. Even that much grace is not shown.
So very rigid behavior of the bureaucrats, it seems. Earlier we used to say ki Arun Jaitley ji is very rigid. Now Madam is also very rigid. It means the bureaucrats sitting there are rigid. They are not able to understand the situation of the SSC.
No,